Hello everyone, nubkeks here. Welcome back to Nub Raids. We are on the test server, and today in this video we've got a bunch of new little bits. I did a whole video on the new champions where there was a shocking I think it was 8 new champions, but we also have some cool new features that we want to check out as well. So for example, cool. Oh, that's this button over here. So here's feature number 1. I can press this little toggle. Oh, and I can move my presets. This is actually so good. This is so good. What a lifesaver. Insane. But quick battle only. Okay, because I've not done it on the test server. Well, right. Listen, we've got Chimera quick battles. I won't do it here. You get how it works. It's gonna be the same. Yeah, it would even take a little while. Yeah. Oh, fuck it. I'll do it. Fuck it. Okay, actually didn't take that long. Only like 6 minutes or so. Just me being fussy. Right, quick battles. So you've got 6 of these, similar to to Hydra. In Hydra, you've got 9. Here, you've got 6. So I can come in. Don't explain again. You go in auto mode, but the results will happen almost immediately. So we go continue, and bada bing, bada bing. It's actually incredibly fast. Well, it's added up the turns. Look at that. Boom. Done really quickly. So compared to before today, well, before this week, where running your Chimera key would have taken you 30, 40, maybe an hour, a long time per key. Now it's taking you literal seconds. Now, one slight downside, obviously, with this team, I'm only doing 6 trials here. There are some trials which I just can't do. So, for example, do damage to the Ram form while it's under True Fear. I can't do that on auto because unless you have True Fear up 100% of the time, Lydia is not consistent enough. She can miss it on her A1. So if Titus does his A2 and there's a normal fear or no fear, Titus is going to die. The whole team's going to be ruined. And yeah, you only have the 5 attempts, so not that useful. The attempts they are indeed shared between difficulties. But I mean, look at that. Imagine that. That's my Ultra Nightmare. My Nightmare key's done. Bada bing, bada boom. Cool, great. So you'll basically not have to think about Chimera again, which is fantastic. I'm going to do the gems at the end, because I was expecting like 5 new gems. There are so many new gems. We're going to look at all of them, but let's look at everything else that is new first. So where are we? Here we go. New gemstones will come to that. Chimera quick battles will come to that. Player profile visuals. Pretty nice, actually, right? So here, background. This is what it looked like before. This is a new version. Like that, really cool. Got this version as well. So 3 different backgrounds for now. I'm liking this one. I guess we'll get these just for free. They've said they're going to be adding some in events. I don't know. There's going to be some permanently available, some maybe limited time. We'll find out. I think it's a lovely little touch. It's really fun. Great change. Yeah, so that's really nice. Doesn't impact the game much, but just makes it more fun, which is what the game's really about, already. This one, though. Ooh. Mythical Faction Guardians. This is... I don't have any dupe mythicals, but if you've got a duplicate Lady Mikage, I've gone to the wrong place, you're in luck. Mythical Faction Guardians. 10% HP, 10% attack. Then it gets pretty juicy. 45 bonus accuracy or resistance. 10% defense. And then if you have 5 sets of mythical dupes, you can get plus 15 speed for your mythicals. This pushes speed-based mythicals. So I'm talking here about champions like Crixia, Arbase, Lazarius perhaps. Champions like that. Go first champions. This pushes them to the top because now they've got the best base speed. If you get a 6-star blessing, they get more speed than a legendary with a 6-star blessing. And then for the low cost of getting 5 duplicates of mythicals, you get an additional 15 speed compared to your legendaries with plus 10. So fighting Krakens just became a lot more difficult. Live Arena just became a lot more difficult. Siege, Tag Team Arena, everything like that just became a lot more difficult. But I mean, I guess it's good for big spenders, right? Because now your dupe mythicals, instead of sitting around, they're there. And again, I would say it now becomes more important. Is it worth empowering mythicals? Not so much. I would be really prioritizing filling up the faction guardians first. And then for empowering mythicals, getting to +2 for the +10 speed is really good for supports. And then +4 for damage is like the big one, like really super empowering them. But like getting a +1 mythical, it's not really a big deal. Getting a +1 legendary is not really that helpful. It's the +2 and the +4 that are the biggest things. They're much more difficult to get. Definitely prioritize filling up your faction guardians. Because yeah, I mean, I see comments. You'd be surprised how often, basically every mythical of 2x event, I see several comments of people saying, I just pulled a duplicate Mikage. Jeez, this sucks. So yeah, we'll see. But that's there you go. They won't be required for some badge, which is filling up all the other slots, which I don't have, but it's there. But there we go. Background auto climb for the event dungeon. I don't know if I can show that. Actually, I probably can, because I don't. No, I can't. Can you auto climb these stages? You can. Okay, but obviously that'd be very difficult to auto climb these challenge stages. But yeah, whenever they bring out a new event dungeon for climbing up from stage 1 to however high you usually farm, you can throw in your team and auto climb. I think it saves you a mild amount of time. I don't really. This one to me doesn't really matter. Altar of Souls wish list is now 10x. 10x instead of 8x. So that's the thing. We have multi-battle champion queue. Some QOL. Okay, so yeah, if I go to... This is big for campaign farming, and particularly for mobile players. But my champion queue, I can now... Well, let's see. What would I actually do? Let's say I'm coming in here. I'm going to turn on super raids. I'll turn on my gear selling filter. I'll say use gems. I won't continue when everyone's max level, certainly. But I'll come into my filter, and this is what I might normally do. I'll say, give me this... Okay, let's go with my 3 stars. That's cool. It's got a bunch of 3 stars to 30. Before, often what you would do, because you could only have 20, you can now go above, but there's no point in putting in 20 either, is there? Because it doesn't divide by 3. So, you know, you'd put in 18. 18 in there, and then you'd have, you know, replace 3 champs at a time, because 3 into 18 is 6. That's cool. No real point to the 19 or 20, but now we can go further. Now I could put in absolutely loads, and guess what? 60 does divide by 3. So you'd have 20 full teams going through campaign farming, which is really nice. So that's like a small quality thing. But look at that, like 60. It's 3 times as big as it was before. But again, because you were sort of effectively limited practically for campaign farming to 18 slots, it's actually gone up by more than that, which is cool. So yeah, that's a nice change. Mostly I'd say for campaign farming. In fact, almost, I think only campaign farming, but that's pretty good. And especially, like I said, for mobile players. Expanded filter menu as well to make choosing champions easier. Hang on. I didn't notice that. What's the expanded... Let's just do this stage. Doesn't matter. Expanded filter menu. Do they mean in the... I guess they mean in here. Oh, maybe this before didn't have such detail? I'm not actually sure what they mean by that, but... Yeah, I'm not certain. It's not immediately jumping out to me, so it's probably a smaller change. Reorder team presets, we saw that already. Filter added to the Minotaur's Labyrinth. Oh, that is amazing. We can just see this in practice. Very simple. Instead of like all these champions, no good. Oh, high champions, all mastery scrolls. So now I can actually see, oh, these are the champions I actually need to get masteries on. That's so helpful instead of having to sort through. Because like without it, this looks like this, right? I'm like, which champions am I getting scrolls for? You have to remember yourself. This is so convenient to be like, okay, I've got some energy. I've got some multi-battles to burn today. Cool. I don't want to think about it too much, but farming Minotaur, good value if you need masteries on champions you're using. Like here, for example, I'm missing masteries on Shayak, apparently, which I didn't realize. Wow, I didn't even know that. My Shayak, who I use all the time, doesn't have his masteries finished. I would have missed that. That's hilarious. So yeah, this will help you be not an idiot as well. So that's a positive thing. But yeah, there you go. I think they are all the miscellaneous changes. Let's dive into the gems, which is going to be a pretty big deal. Yeah, here we go. So we've got loads of new gemstones. We'll go through them relatively quickly just to get it done. Woe to the besieged. Where ignores 5% resistance in siege battles? Rubbish. You asked for it. Where does 10% more damage while under provoke debuff? Rubbish. Old Sorcery, where it ignores 10% resistance when transferring debuffs. Okay, extremely niche. Magic Destroyer, do 5% more damage against magic affinity enemies. Actually pretty good. That's actually really good. It's really strong. Like, if you don't have the Boss Slayer gemstones, like if you're going up against a magic affinity Chimera, that could be, you know, if he's half the time, it would be a 5% damage boost. You could have 2 of these and some relics, could be a 10% damage boost. It's actually pretty decent if you don't have Boss Slayer gems. Interesting. Could be good for Siege as well, for magic rooms. This one is actually okay. Pain in the ass, but it's okay. If you're farming, like you've got a dungeon farm team as well, you're farming like magic dungeons, again, it's okay. Pyromaniac, do 10% more damage against enemies under HP burn. Actually really good. Yeah, if you've got teams using burn, it's really good for someone like a ninja. Save your Boss Slayer gem for ninja, use this instead. Actually really good. Toxin's Touch, 10% more damage against enemies under poison. Also actually quite decent. Now, I'd say perhaps not as generally useful as this, but still good. Like, if you have poisons in your team and you've got direct damage dealers, excellent. Often with poison teams, they can tend to be pure poison teams. Like, you're just doing damage with poison, and this won't really help you. And you can't put this in an Arachne Elixir, for example. But if you're running a direct damage dealer alongside a poisoner, then yeah, it's pretty good. But I'd say this one is more, the fire one is more generally useful. Fortuitous Velocity, increase the chance for a wearer to gain an extra turn from skills by an additional 5%. That's insane. I don't know if this works with like relics or gems or gear sets like Merciless or what's the one? Relentless. I don't know if it works with that. If it does work with that, it's incredible. If it's just off of very niche to champions who've got a chance for an extra turn. It's probably insane, but I'm not sure, but it's probably insane. Momentum Breaker. You've got a 20% chance to counterattack with your default skill when an enemy receives an extra turn or instant turn. Insane. We all know how ridiculous like Marius and Solinar are. This is turning everyone into a mini version of that. That's incredible. Kill off Mythicals. That is bonkers. So probably both the Mythicals are bonkers. Both of these are quite good. The magic one is okay, but kind of a pain in the ass. Triangles. Fighting Fury. 5% more damage on every third skill used. It's okay. The Strong Survive. Where does 5% more damage to enemies whose attack is lower than or equal to them. That's incredible. That's really strong. For any attack-based damage dealer, that should almost always be active. That's just 5% damage. That's actually incredible. And just a rare, that's really good. Void Slayer, 5% more damage against Void Affinity. Ironically, this is worse almost all the time for any attack-based champion. It's almost always going to be worse. And like, look, if you do run into an enemy who's got way more attack than you, they're going to be insanely squishy. So you don't really need to do more damage against them. Okay, this, again, might be niche for Siege and stuff and some bosses, but yeah, fine. Bloody Momentum. Your crit damage increases by 5% each time you kill an enemy, up to 25%. Meh. Fearmonger. Do 10% more damage against enemies under fear or true fear. That's very niche and rubbish against nearly every boss. Take him down. You increase the wearers, ignore defense by 5% against enemies whose max HP is greater than the wearers in Siege and Arena. That is incredible. That's ridiculously good. That's better than this. This is a 5% damage boost. 5% more ignore defense is way more damage boost than 5%. So for any, again, attack-based nuker or defense-based nuker, this is incredible, but it is limited to PvP. Know Thy Enemy. You ignore 5% defense when attacking an enemy with a different affinity to the wearers. Very strong. Extremely strong. Yeah, that's very, very good. Really good. I mean, you don't want negative affinity matchups, really, but it would make you hit really hard when you don't weak hit. Neutral affinity matchups are a bummer, but I mean, that's really good. No Mercy. You do 5% more damage for every 25% of a target's lost HP. That is bonkers. You fight Chimera. You can fight it. Demon Lord as well. You can fight them when they're on like one hit point, right? You're going to do 20% more damage? I don't know if it would be 15 or 20%, but that is absurd. That's absurd. Holy shit. All right. Square Gemstones. Runes of Shielding. Receive 10% less damage from critical hits. That is actually... Square Gemstones kind of suck. That's incredibly strong for PvP. Rubbish for PvE. You don't get crit much. PvP insane. Will of Iron, resistance increased by 5 for every 5% HP lost. If you've lost half your HP, 50 resistance, pretty mediocre, pretty bad. Self-control, resistance increased by 10 for each turn of cooldown remaining on their active skills up to 100. Does that count like mythicals or other skills? I'm guessing void mythicals are going to have like 3 active skills or something when they arrive in like 2 years' time. Fairly mediocre. It's not awful to protect you from lockout champs at the start of a PvP fight. Standing Proud, resistance increased by 50 while under taunt. Pretty poor, very niche. Yeah, not great. Maybe, yeah, not great. Realistically. Hunker Down, you take 25% less damage from bomb debuffs. Seems useless. Unflappable, decrease the chance that the wearer's skills won't activate due to fear or true fear debuffs by 10%. That's interesting, but super niche. When are you ever going to use that? I think these are both pretty rubbish, I think. Nigh Impermeable, wearer receives 10% less damage from enemies with a different affinity to the wearers. Incredible. That is insanely good. And Blinding Barrage, wearer ignores 15% of a target's resistance when placing stun debuffs. That's kind of rubbish. What? Like, why? Why? Rubbish. This one is insane, though. 10% less damage from most enemies in the game is great. Diamond Gemstones, rapid regrowth. Increase the amount of healing you provide by 5% each time you heal a target, stacking up to 15%. Excellent. Tough Hide. Wearer receives 5% less damage from enemies whose defense is lower than or equal to theirs. That's actually very solid, very consistent, almost permanent uptime for high defense champions with 5% less damage is good, especially because it's easy to get. Force Breaker, do 5% more damage against force enemies. Okay, we've seen those before. Pretty Perfect. I mean, it could be good, could be Weird gem slot, so awkward to use it. Perfect Heist. Wearer's accuracy increased by 30 when attempting to steal buffs. Pretty good if you're a buff steal champion. There tends to be support relics with these diamond gemstones, so yeah. Spirit champions like these gemstones, I guess. So the Force Breaker fits in there, I suppose. Weakness Revealed. Wearer receives by 5% less damage from enemies under debuffs placed by the wearer. Wow. So they need to rewrite that one a little bit. 5% less damage from enemies that you've placed debuffs on. Decent. It's good. Not amazing, but it's good. Last stat, like for a legendary, it's a bit meh, but it's usable for sure. Healing and shield buffs received while the wearer is below 50% HP are 25% more effective. Last stand. Again, it's all right. Not bad at all. Living Dynamo, turn meter fill effects from skills are 15% more effective on the wearer. That is very, very strong, extremely strong, only from skills, but still very good. And Monstrosity, wearer ignores 15% of target's resistance when placing fear or true fear. Extremely niche. Yeah, the diamond ones are, I'll be honest, these are pretty underwhelming. Then pentagonal, I don't know. Tactical Withdrawal, take 5% less damage while under hard crowd control. It's okay. Good for Bambas. Skullcracker, you do 5% more damage to enemies whose defense is lower than or equal to this champion's. That's actually really, really good for any defense-based damage dealer. And easy to use. Weird gem slot, though, pentagonal. So, Essence Taker. Wearers heal by 20% of the damage inflicted when killing an enemy with a skill. That's actually pretty good for, like, wave content. That's actually really nice to keep your damage dealers going in Faction Wars, Grim Forest, that sort of thing. That's pretty cool. If they've got boss minions, that might work pretty well. Yeah, interesting. Spirit Breaker. Do 5% more damage against Spirit Affinity enemies, so same as all the other ones. Taking Advantage. Do 10% more damage against enemies under stun. It's a big damage boost. It's incredibly niche. Not too exciting. Toy with Foes. Do 10% more damage against enemies under Provoke. Again, not crazy exciting. But at least with Provoke, like if you got a counterattack Provoke champion, you provoke them and then you counterattack. It's only all right. Abyssal Ice, you ignore 15% resistance when placing freeze. A lot of the freeze champions are like ignoring resistance. Like, I don't know. I'm thinking like Lady Noelle Sir Nick. It's okay for a freeze champ. 15% is a good bit of ignore resist. Ignore 50% resist placing poisons. That's very good. I don't think it fits with an Arachne Elixir though, which means that it's actually useless in practice. Incredibly useful effect. But I don't think it's actually any good because Arachne Elixir only has a triangle gem slot. Hilarious. So there you go. Decent mix. I'm actually surprised it's this many. I wonder if there's going to be more sources. These are Live Arena. So yeah, Live Arena just became a massive source. I mean, I'm shocked. Like, It's almost 50% more gemstones been introduced to the game purely from Live Arena, exclusively from Live Arena win streak mode. So really encouraging people to participate in win streak. Give it a go anyway. See how it is. If it sucks, don't do it. But I mean, it's a lot of very unique gemstones. It's probably like, you know, do an entire month's worth of this and you get like 2 blues or something shitty, knowing Plarium, and like, you know, you don't even get a whiff of the mythicals. But we'll see. You got some very strong gems in there. Got a lot of shit gems, but yeah, it's interesting. They're adding more gems. We'll see if they add more in the future. But there we go. That's everything for this video. I believe we've seen it all. Let me know, what do you think of these changes? What do you think of the gemstones, the little quality of life changes? Do they look good? Give me your thoughts. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Goodbye.